Hey, Chris Mack here. Okay, so I wanted to share a story with you, something that had recently happened. There are so many things I want to talk about when it comes to the reasons a small business needs to incorporate. So I'm Chris Mack. I am a mentor and an educator here in Ottawa, Ontario. I work with small businesses. I specialize in brick and mortar, and think of more your mom and pop shops. Okay, so it's the program that I run is called Main Street Made Easy. And that's what we focus on. We focus on those types of business owners and the challenges that they face, and then decisions that they have to make as their business grows and even up to the point of retirement. And we plan for those things. We discuss mostly things like operations and a lot about finances. So I work one-on-one. I even go into small businesses, review, help with operations, help wherever I can, really. But my program, I've had to really streamline and focus on a few aspects, because as a mentor especially, I can get questions from everything. I can get questions from insurance, legal questions, accounting questions, what scent do you like better? They're developing a product, and it's like, here's a lawyer recommendation, here is an accountant recommendation. So even though I will have experience in nearly everything, every aspect of running a small business, as anybody who's been in business for probably over 5 years, you've gone through it enough by then. You have a really nice portfolio of all the stuff you've had to manage over the years, good and bad, what's worked, what doesn't work. By 5 years, you have really good, you've done your A/B testing, so to speak, right? So I've been with small business for over 20 years and opened my own brick and mortar, had been freelancing, had done all that stuff before, but then really started to see the difference when you're actually responsible and liable and you have a building to be taken care of, an actual location people come to. So what I want to share with you is this. If you're thinking of selling your business in the future, if we talked about this last year, and about May last year again, I said, what does retirement look like for a small business? And we were talking more about the perception of people, your average person driving by and seeing a business close or businesses for sale. And they often have this negative response. We were talking about that a bit before last year, but today I want to focus on, I kind of interchangeably talk to the person selling the business and the person maybe buying the business, because I deal with both, and they're both involved in the sale. Both parties are involved in the sale, regardless of what type of business owner you are in this scenario, or what your role is. Pardon me, as the business owner. Are you the one buying? Are you the one selling? So first off, if you are looking to sell your business one day, you're going to want to start thinking about incorporating right away. Now, there's things I kept trying to make notes on, if I sat down and recorded this video, am I going to talk about, okay, the benefits of incorporation, the cost of incorporation, ongoing costs of incorporation? Yes, I can do that. That's a whole, okay, those are things to consider, yes. But this is about preparing your business so you don't miss out on opportunities as the seller, and as the buyer, protecting yourself and making sure you're buying a business that is actually an independent asset that you can buy and benefit from all those years that they were in business. So when you're looking to buy a business, you're looking to buy the whole business, right? So you think you're buying this asset, you're buying a business as though it's its own entity. You're buying a business. You don't want the previous owner attached to it. You can't buy them, right? That sounds obvious. Well, then you have to ask yourself, how did they structure their business? Because them as a sole proprietor or them as a partnership, you're not getting the whole business. I'm going to explain to you why. Your financials don't come with it. The financials of that business don't come with you when you're purchasing that business. So it's not clean. Even though they may have kept really great records, even though there might be they might have followed all the advice, their purchases and how things should be, keep it on this account and have the incoming on this account and all the things that we talk about all the time. Those might be things that they have in order. Great. That's really good. You feel really good with their numbers. Great. Their projections are great. Awesome. Now what? You're buying a business, and let's just use the example that I'm thinking of, the one that I just personally was involved in, as someone brought in late to the game to try to help. Because that's another thing that I'm able to do. If you need money as a small business owner, that's one thing I step up and I help people do, and I put their plans together and help them present themselves to lenders that look at things a little bit differently than like your regular A lender, your like RBC Bank, your TD, that sort of thing. So I'm brought in a little too late, but the question was, how are you buying the business? And people like get confused because right away I'm thinking, I want to see the business as its own person. I'm thinking it needs to be incorporated to really truly benefit from the 10 years, where people understand it better when I explain it like it's a house. So I say, okay, imagine the business is a house, a physical house, and they have, everything that you want. They're in the community that you want, aka your customers. And they have this rapport with the neighbors, and everything's really good. So you're moving into this already well-established, maybe you have the floors you want, the walls you want, maybe they painted everything. It's like your dream. It's like it's meant to be. It's for you. And so the new neighbors are excited. New to you are excited because they're thinking they had such great relationship with the former owners. They're really excited, hoping that you guys are going to be the same, and they're going to, just continue on. So there's all that hopeful, very comparable to someone buying a business. The name is staying the same. The vendors are staying the same. The colors are staying the same. You're bringing the same energy. It's a seamless transaction, right? So we're kind of seeing like the example. Okay, great. Now that house has had a mortgage. That house has had a mortgage for how many years and has had a relationship with the bank? Let's just say RBC Bank. That's who I use for small business. So let's just say Royal Bank, RBC Bank. RBC Bank doesn't come with that house. That mortgage doesn't come with that house. That mortgage is done. That mortgage was with the previous owners. So your sole proprietors or your partnerships. It's not, you don't get to benefit from that history and that mortgage that was always paid on time and the credit and everything that they've built up financially. You don't get any of that, but you do get the house. So I'm not arguing. I'm not saying that you don't get the house. I'm not saying you don't get all of the things and the location and the neighbors and all the things that you loved about it. You get that. But if you are someone who is able to afford the business, kind of like how we say, like when we're, you might be able to afford the car, maybe you can afford the Ferrari, but can you afford the maintenance and the storage and everything that goes with it? So if you can get your money together and you can buy this business and you can buy the inventory and you can get ready for your first events, maybe you're good even for the first 6 months, maybe you're good for the first year. There's always unforeseen things. Most time, now not everybody, someone might have very deep pockets, or maybe they have a ton of angel investors already lined up, even though angel investors are going to want you to be incorporated. Even though you might have some kind of amazing connection, family, I don't know, whatever you have, and you don't ever need money. In fact, this business is just for giggles. Okay, fine. Then you're an anomaly. You're over here. That's not who I work with, and that's not my experience with your average small business owner. So, and not who cares about my experience? Most people and their experience with their mentees and their students, like my network is going to tell you, yeah, that's very unlikely. Like usually when someone is opening, or their passion is to open like a little brick and mortar, a mom and pop shop, a cafe, a boutique, usually they're not coming from like the Rockefellers, So like, again, I always have to have that little disclaimer, because you get that one person who's like, well, I know a cousin of a friend of a girlfriend of a, okay, let's stick to what's going on right now with like everyday people. Most people don't have just access, really deep pockets, and are opening a brick and mortar. Most people are doing it because they're tired of their job. They want to do something they're passionate about. They have some savings, or they have some equity in their home and they're going to pull it. Like that's most of your people who are opening the donut shops and the cafes and the restaurants. The one little gem on Main Street. This is your average small business owner, the cafe that you adore. I'm talking about those types of people. They need access to finances. So when they're buying a business, they're thinking, well, I'm buying a business. They've been in business for 10 years. When I go into the bank is going to see that, and the bank is going to issue me an operating line of credit because they know I need to continue the inventory. They know the business is really good. That is not how banks think. Banks think you have no credit. Hi, Jane Doe. You bought this business. Okay, good for you. You bought a project. You bought a hobby is how they're going to view it. And they're going to look at you and say, well, we can lend according to what you can personally give. Like your credit, your personal credit, or a house. We can pull some money out of your home. Well, I already pulled money out of my home. I've already maximized my personal credit. But doesn't the business have anything? The business has been around for 10 years. The business wasn't incorporated, which means the business did not on its own, as its own entity, it's nice little packaged up with the bow and handed over to you. That's how it should have been. The business doesn't have any credit history. So financially speaking, it's a startup. The mortgage is a really good example. As I was trying to think of an analogy, because I'm like, yeah, a house and the community and everything that it has can be super, super attractive. You might be able to afford it and you might be able to get yourself into it. But if you need anything else, like if you just assumed that you're going to go to the bank, that the same bank that maybe the previous owners were, and you're going to say, hey, you know that wonderful house? It's been there for years. It's great community. It's a great house. We would like to get a line of credit. We would like to get an equity line of credit on the house. And the bank looks at you like, okay, first of all, there needs to be enough value in the home. You've already maximized your mortgage. You're tapped out. Where's this money coming from? And you're like, but the house is so great. That's not how it works. And it's very similar to how a small business works. It doesn't work that way. They don't care that the coffee shop has been amazing for 25 years. They care about the fact that you bought a sole proprietor. That person, the credit history, everything went out the window or out the door with the previous owner because they did not incorporate. They could have been building credit history, but they didn't. They stayed as sole proprietor or they stayed as a partnership. Basically the same thing financially. So 2 people or whatever versus like the 1 person. So incorporate. Like again, you have to think about what is my future as the business owner, current business owner. What is my future with my business? And then as a buyer, do I want to start up? Do I want to buy a business that's kind of like a hybrid? It's kind of a startup financially? Or am I going to make sure that I'm looking for a business that is structured where the business is its own asset, complete, nice little pretty box with a bow that I can literally step in and benefit from the clientele, everything I love about the business itself, everything that the owners have done. Most of the time it's inventory, it's everything. It's the cards. Like when you're buying a business, usually you're already in love with the product, right? You're in love with the brand and you're like, yeah. And you might have plans to elevate it, but you're sold. And then the finances. Did I say them? I think I said that. You need the finances. Oh, I can't remember which the 3 that I put in order. This is what happens when I just film on the fly. I'm like, I wanted to get this story out. You like the building, you like the community, the physical brick and mortar, the community that they've built, which is totally full of value, but that's still not the whole business. You need the financials, you need the credit history as well. And that's why you incorporate.